everyone, and welcome back to the Those Who Geek channel. Some of you may know me from some of our videos. I also edit a lot of the videos that I'm not in. And if you're new to our channel, my name is Kaylen, and welcome, where we talk about all geeky things. Everything you can think of that's geeky, we probably will talk about it. This video is going to be a little bit different from our normal everyday content. It's just something I've been wanting to do. I've been wanting to start a new series, so if this is something that you came to our channel for, or if you're interested in this kind of content, let us know, and maybe it'll be something that we continue. This is what you're here for. BookTok. BookTok is one of the most powerful forces in publishing today. It has the power to skyrocket an author's career overnight, send backlist titles to the top of the charts when they were published years ago. It also dictates what kind of books dominate bookstore displays. When was the last time you went to Barnes & Noble? You probably have seen a lot of displays that are BookTok themed. Maybe you never knew what that was, or maybe you really know what that is, like I do. It has influenced so many people who haven't picked up a book since grade school to start reading again. All in all, it's really easy to see the positives that BookTok brings to the book community. But here's the thing. The culture of BookTok, the trends, the aesthetics, the way books are just talked about, has also fostered a type of what I would call anti-intellectualism that's reshaping both the reading and the writing world in a lot of concerning ways. Today, I'd like to talk about that anti-intellectualism, what that looks like from BookTok, and how it's tied to modern marketing, and why it really matters for the future of literature. Let me start off by defining the problem. I don't think that anti-intellectualism, that word is going to kick my butt this whole video. It doesn't mean that people are stupid if you read certain things. I just think it means that, in general, ideas and analysis and complexity in books and reviews are starting to be treated more as boring or elitist. And on BookTok, that shows up in a few ways. Let's start off by talking about the surface level engagement. A book is recommended often because it's spicy, because it has enemies to lovers, because it wrecked me. And there's rarely a deeper discussion about the craft, about the themes, and about the literary merit of that novel. It also cites a lot of hostility towards criticisms that are brought to the table. If someone points out weak writing, or shallow characters, or problematic elements, they're often accused of ruining the fun, or gatekeeping reading. I also think that it's guilty of simplifying taste in books to just trends. Entire genres or tropes are flattened into buzzwords. Enemies to lovers, morally gray, found family, and these shorthand terms dominate discourse more than actual ideas or themes from these books. It's not that tropes are bad, because how can tropes be bad? It's impossible to write a book without a trope. But when the only language used to describe books is tropes or vibes or aesthetic, it discourages analytical thought. Let's move into marketing. Publishing has always had to sell books, and BookTok has really accelerated the focus on aesthetic-driven marketing over anything of intellectual substance. We see within the algorithm, publishers push books not because they're groundbreaking, but because they fit a certain format. Something that's easy to explain in a 10-second or 60-second TikTok video. You can have dramatic music, and you don't really get much of an idea of the plot from these videos. Author branding has really taken a turn for the worst as well. Writers are expected to perform on TikTok and social media, often more than they're expected to be refining the craft. They want quirky videos, aesthetic book stacks, relatable writing things. Sometimes all of that matters more than what's on the page. Authors now have to put on a performance for views, and if they don't get those views, they don't get the readership. At least, that's what's being portrayed and focused on in the publishing world as of recent. People are also starting to have more of a preference of the content more than the context of what they're reading. Readers are encouraged to consume books like products, like another item for sale, which, given books are things that you can go to the store and buy, I get it. But people are starting to use them more for hauls, for another pretty spine on their bookshelf, for another fast binge, to make a quick TikTok recap. This kind of marketing taps into a culture where critical thinking isn't just undervalued, it's actively inconvenient for the sales and for the publishing world. People don't want to know what the themes are, what the deeper meaning is behind a book. They really want to know, does the main protagonist have a hot boyfriend? Does the book have smut? Is it steamy enough for me? That's what people really want to know. So what happens when anti-intellectualism becomes the default in our book culture? Readers begin to feel uncomfortable with complexity. Books that require things like patience, reflection, or challenge becomes less popular to pick up. We see people online proudly saying things like, I don't care about writing style, I care about the characters, I don't want to think too hard, I just want vibes. Some creators on TikTok have been attacked for views such as not wanting to read descriptors and only reading dialogue, which would honestly explain why so many BookTokers can read as fast as they can if they're skipping ginormous amounts of the book. And while escapism is completely valid, it is worth asking, are we training readers to resist intellectual engagement? Are we encouraging people to dismiss books that are harder to market, but more rewarding and quick to read? And let's talk about the other perspective for a second. Writers are feeling this way too. I did touch on writers a little bit a moment ago, and as a writer myself, I have a lot of thoughts on this. Nowadays, there is such a pressure to self-market my book. Many authors are told out flat out, if you're not on TikTok, if you're not going viral, you're not gonna sell your book. And that means more energy goes into content creation than it does into editing a book or researching your book. And now we're simplifying our writing for trends. Writers are pushed to write more BookTok-friendly tropes first, and then maybe substance second, maybe. Some even structure novels around quotable lines that can go viral and create characters that people can swoon over. There's also become a disappearance of what I would call mid-list authors. Publishers are putting resources towards a handful of hopefully viral things, instead of nurturing long-term careers of serious writers. When I was looking into publishing my book, my sci-fi novel, it felt impossible to find an agent that wasn't looking for something with those buzzwords that I've been talking about. They want smutty romance and fantasy. Even agents that said that they sold sci-fi novels would get back to me and say they weren't looking for this kind of novel anymore. They wanted something that could easily be marketed on social media. They would even ask how many followers I had. I usually didn't respond to those kinds of questions. The result becomes that writing becomes less about pushing boundaries and creating meaningful stories, then it becomes more about fitting into a commercial mold. That's anti-intellectualism at work. Art gets reduced to what's most marketable in 60 seconds. Literature has always been one of the spaces where complexity does matter. It's where ideas are tested, where our empathy is expanded, where imagination challenges the norms. When the culture around books discourages questioning, depth, challenge, it limits what writers are willing to create and what readers are willing to accept. And this isn't about shaming anyone who reads romance and fantasy and thrillers off TikTok, by the way. Those genres can themselves be brilliant. The issue isn't really what people are reading, it's how the culture is shaping the way we read and talk about books. If all engagement in the book community becomes surface level, then the intellectual power of literature starts to erode. There becomes a brain rot of sorts in relation to what we're always consuming. And that's not good for anybody. Obviously, making a video like this is not going to change anything. But maybe you can ask yourself what we can do. What could change that would make this a little bit better? I would start off by encouraging more critical conversations. When somebody's talking about a book, don't ask what tropes are in it. Ask, what did the book say about the people, or about society, or about you, yourself? We should be supporting a little bit more diversity in our reading. We should be buying and sharing books outside of the TikTok bubble. We should go for the more overlooked authors, the indie presses. Even look for translations from books of other countries. We should also be valuing the critique, normalized, thoughtful, and more nuanced reviews instead of treating criticism as negativity. We don't want to be too harsh on literature, right? But we need to be able to say that we do love something and also acknowledge where that thing can fall short and give someone an idea of why we really love that thing more than just because it made me feel good. I don't know about any of you, but I've never read a book that I would consider perfect. It doesn't exist. Critique encourages deeper thinking, and deeper thinking keeps our brains from rotting away and accepting anything that everyone tells us without thinking about it for more than a complex minute on a complex level. We really got to reframe marketing in the book community. Authors and publishers could use platforms not just for trends, but to invite readers into deeper conversations, which is something I wanted to include right here. So, if you're a reader of anything, novels, short stories, manga, comic books, etc., please leave in the comments. Share a story that you love. Share a quick review. And I challenge you to do so without using buzzwords, without talking about the tropes. Just talk about what the book is about, what it tells you about society, what it tells you about people, what it tells you about yourself. There's a little challenge of the day for you. BookTok has made reading cool again for many people that may have never even thought it was cool to begin with. That's incredible. And I don't want to push people out of the reading community or gatekeep, as many people are saying these days. There's a reason I didn't really use any examples of novels in this video, or authors. I don't want to shame someone for liking a book or an author. The amazing thing about our world is that we get to choose what we consume, and use that to make us feel better in general, given how terrible this world is right now. I understand wanting to disconnect from all the horrible things that are going on. I understand not wanting to care about something for just a minute. But if we want books to be more than commodities, we need to push back against the anti-intellectual trend that reduces literature to tropes and vibes and aesthetic. And if every book that we do read is on BookTok, I recommend doing a little extra research and try to find new things that BookTok probably would never tell you about in the first place. I'm not usually one to recommend Reddit, but I have found some books from Reddit that I actually enjoyed that I've never seen be talked about anywhere online. Go back to basics as well and go reach out to your local librarian. Ask them. You probably have more than one librarian in your library. Ask them what they think. Ask them for a recommendation. Maybe they have something that you've never even heard of before. Something that you could connect with them on. At its core, reading isn't just escape and aesthetics and how it makes us feel. It's about engaging with ideas, and a lot of those ideas deserve more than a little 60-second clip of just to keep our attention and our time. Thank you for watching, and that was my son. Thank you for watching. I know this isn't your typical video that you would find on our site, but I'm hoping that we can have more discussions like this. I love talking to people about these sort of subjects and getting to understand where people are coming from and why they might feel the opposite. So, as long as you're kind and you feel the opposite, go ahead and let me know why. I'd love to hear it. That's why I'm on here. And if you're interested in more news-based content, Nate and Eric, who are also on this channel, every Friday we release a video called Speedrun Update. They go over news for movies and trailers and video games, and they haven't really touched much on the book stuff. If more people start coming to this channel for the bookish content, I'd love to get in there and put in some recommendations for some of our viewers, so go watch those videos. We'll see you guys next time on the Those Who Geek channel. Bye, everybody!